So first of all, what is prompt engineering? Maybe to understand this, you need to understand what is prompt, right? And the prompt is just some input, sentences, instructions, or nowadays pictures, like videos that you send to the language model in order to get something back. And with this, what is prompt engineering is that it's a type of methodology or a subject for you to design, you craft, and optimize your prompt. And the ultimate goal is to improve the response you will obtain from the language model. And why prompt engineering is so important, especially for the auditors? You think about prompts like just the language you communicate with the large language model. So prompt engineering become one of the key skills for you to improve your communication with the large language model, right? Therefore, if you can have a better communication skills, the large language model will understand your instruction or your requirements better, then in general, you will get better results. Therefore, for auditors, for example, if you want to query some key information from the long documents, then you give a very good instruction, then you're gonna get a better or more effective query using the prompts through the prompt engineering. Similarly, a better communication skill between you and the large language model will enhance interaction between the two, between the human and the machine, and will also improve the reliability of the findings you will get from the large language model. And finally, during the process, you can supply some domain-specific knowledges or your own experiences on performing this type of tasks. So that will also generally improve the quality of the result you obtained from the interaction with the LLM and to avoid something called the hallucination and to improve the consistency and accuracy of the result. Well, I just mentioned that prompt is like the language you communicate with the large language model or LLM, but don't put it as some kind of very complicated concept. Because previously we know if you learn Python, if you learn R language, you are trying to communicate with the machine, right? But you need to memorize some rules to communicate with the machine. But now prompt is just a different thing. It's very simple. And like one simple word, one simple sentences can become a very successful prompting process. Let me give you an example. For example, if you just input the cat is into large language models like ChatGPT, you will probably get some answers like sleeping or curious, right? Then this is one typical type of prompting. You already make a successful prompting using these simple words. But apparently, ChatGPT don't understand what you are exactly want to do without more contextual information or more instructions. In general, if you want ChatGPT to give you a better result following your own desires, goals or requirements, you need to provide more information like instructions, contextual input, or even some examples for LLM to understand. Using the same example, I just provide a little bit better prompt. I say, complete the sentence, the cat is, right? So this is just a little bit background information for ChatGPT to understand, and he will know, okay, you want me to complete this sentence. So my goal is to complete this sentence. My goal is not to give you the general habit of Kate or describe the Kate, but so the sentence will be, the cat is sleeping on the windowsill, enjoying the warmth. So this is just a very, very simple example for you to understand what is prompt engineering and why it is important? There are generally several types of elements for you to craft an effective prompt. For example, instructions. You need to give the specific task and instructions for the LLM to understand your requirement. For example, you can say, act as an auditor, act as a professor, or act as the writer. And you need to provide some contextual information for the LLM to better understand your requirements or even some of your domain-specific knowledge. You need to provide the actual input data, which is the information or the question you want the LLM to process. For example, tell me the date of this contract. Give me the two parties involved in the contract. And finally, you better require the specific output format or the tone or the types of the output. Let me give you some examples specifically falling under the audit setting or like auditors. You can, for the instruction, you can say, act as the internal auditor or the external auditor, like the forensic accountant or the CFO or financial analyst. You can give this specific role assignment to large language model. And you can also say, write in the format, write analytically or write in an objective format, write with the details or write in an ethical way, right? So this is to form the output of the result. And you can also say, write in the style of the audit report, the internal control assessment, or even like a compliance guidance. And finally, you can require LLM to present the result in certain format, like present in the audit summary, present with the executive summary, or now that you can even say present in the graphs or charts, because those advanced language models can generate pictures or the markdown documents for you to better organize the results. So I have all of these important examples in the handout. So I also have my slides in the handouts. So you can feel free to download this and use those. So following this, I'm going to introduce you several popular prompt engineering techniques in finance and accounting literature. So the first one is the comparison between zero shot, one shot, and few shot learning. So this one is kind of easy to understand because it's more like whether you provide some examples in your prompts, like in your instructions. For zero-shot prompting, you do not provide any examples in your instruction. You just directly give your instruction. And the whole reasoning process of the LLM will rely on its own trained data. So therefore, it is more suitable for the generic and simple tasks. But a little bit advanced version is the few shot learning, where you provide a little bit examples for the LLM to understand your requirements. So the whole inference process will be enhanced because they learn from your examples. Therefore, it is more suitable for some complex and advanced tasks. Let me also give you an example using the few shot prompting. Let's say we are trying to evaluate the internal control effectiveness. So yes, my goal is to evaluate the effectiveness of internal control for preventing fraud in the following scenarios. And first of all, I provide some examples of the scenario and I provide some of my own reasoning process, my own identifications of the weaknesses. Because me as the auditor, human auditor, I have some experiences. I want to teach LLM how to perform this type of task. I provide two examples with the scenarios, with the control weaknesses identified. Then I further prompt using the examples above, evaluate the following scenarios for the internal control weaknesses. I provide the new example, the new scenario, and I will expect to get some results following my examples because large language models can understand my question, understand my example, and give me the result. This is one typical example of few-shot learning in the auditing setting. Another technique I want to introduce is called the chain of thought prompting or COT prompting. So this one is easy to understand, but it's very, very powerful. You can also call it COT prompting. It's the basic meaning of it is to solve the complex tasks by breaking them down into intermediate reasoning steps. Just like how can I put the elephant in the refrigerator, right? You just cannot give the whole task. You need to give the specific steps, open the door, put it in, close the door, right? Just some simple example. And there are two types of COT prompting. For zero-shot COT prompting, you just follow your original instruction and give one sentence like, let's think step by step. So this will normally encourage LLM to perform the task step by step. Otherwise, for those more complex tasks, you can also using the few-shot COT, where you provide some of your own reasoning process for LLM to perform its own task following your steps. Here, I will give you one more example, and I will specifically demonstrate this in ChatGPT and to help you understand this. Let's say my task is to let LLM understand the table of content from the financial statement. This is only part of the table of content. And my question is to follow my answer format to answer the questions without any other output. I give LLM one example question and also one example answer. What is the total number of pages covered by the balance sheet and the cash flow statement section? As a human being, you need to first find the balance sheet here, page 10, and find the cash flow statement, page 15. So you calculate the page range of these two sections, you get the result 5. So I just provide my example result. The total number is 5. Then I give ChatGPT his own task to do this. What is the total number of pages covered by introduction and income statement? Answer, question mark. I want ChatGPT to give me an answer. So let's demonstrate this. I will just copy and paste it exact result to ChatGPT. This is the brand new dialog window. I don't want the picture copied. It said the total number is 7. It is 7. Introduction occupies 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? And the income statement section occupies 12, 13, and 14. So that should be 8 instead of 7. Okay, so let's see a little bit better version of the prompting. Here, I give everything the same except for the red sentence where I give ChatGPT my own reasoning process. In the first example, I say the next item page following the balance sheet is 12. So the balance sheet occupies 10 and 11. The next item page following cash flow is 18. So the cash flow statement occupies 15, 16, and 17. Okay, so this is my reasoning process, right? I give the exact same question and I copy and paste this into ChatGPT. Let's see the results. I'm not 100% sure, but I have tried at least 5 times at home. So I'm open a new dialog window. So let's see. Okay, he followed my reasoning process. The next item for introduction is 10, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the next one for income statement is 15, so the income statement is 12, 13, and 14. So the total number is 8. So this is just one simple illustration for you to understand how prompt engineering is useful, and if you can use it effectively, you will generate better results. So some general tips for prompt engineering. All of this are also in your handout. You feel free to refer to them after the presentation. Always start simple. You cannot get a very advanced or mature prompt with just one sitting. Start with simple, observe the result, and iteratively get a better prompting. And also remember, break down the complex task into smaller tasks, following the chain of thought prompting, experiment with different instruction and format, and also using some clear separators like the pound sign to organize the prompt. Be specific in your prompt. Provide more examples or details for the LLM to understand, but avoid those unnecessary details. Here's my example. If you want to extract some information from the given document, you provide the output format, ratio, common separated list of ratios, and the output will generally follow your instruction because you give enough details. And finally, always focus on what to do, not what not to do. So when you are prompting, always tell, okay, do this, do that, be prepared with this. Do not say, you do not do this, because this is the probabilistic model. It will follow your input and generate the next word. So always give more details without saying not to do this, not to do that. For example, a less effective prompt will be prepare a summary of the financial audit report, but do not include unnecessary details. This is less effective, I would say. Compared to another version, prepare a concise summary of the key findings and recommendations from the financial audit report, limited to 100 words. You can also provide way more details for LLM to understand. This is just a little, you may get the similar answer, but you may get a better answer. Just give it a try and make comparison. So that's it for my presentation. And I also have my emails here. I have all of those important slides in the handout. So if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. And you can also feel free to refer to those information in the handout. Thank you.